Welcome back to another episode of Garage Topics, where I make questionable decisions and show you them in the garage where it's cool to hang out. As you can see behind me, there is a red C5 Corvette. And if you're an OG subscriber, you may be thinking, didn't you already have one of those? Didn't you sell it to Cleetus? Yes, I did. But when you're wearing New Balances all the time, you need to get back in a Corvette. So from far away, this Corvette looks really good, but I'm going to drive it in here in the garage to share with you guys. And I'll show you some of the quirks of this C5 and kind of why I got it. All right, here's this beautiful, beautiful car. Well, kind of, sort of, depends on who you are, but this is a 1999 fixed roof coupe Chevrolet Corvette, or Corvette, depending on who you are. I really enjoy this thing. I enjoyed my other one. Long story short, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe, but also if you like C5 content, I have tons of videos about my previous C5, so go subscribe. That ended up in the hands of Mr. Cleetus McFarland. It is now probably the most famous C5 drift Corvette in the world, and I owned it at one point in time. I only drifted it into a guardrail, and that's kind of why I sold it. Anyways, this here is a shining example of a bone stock C5. If you want to watch the reviews of a C5 Corvette, you can go see those anywhere. I'm going to review this particular C5 and all the small quirks that it has. Believe it or not, this Corvette has 170,000 miles on it, and it is bone stock. Got my noobs on, keeping it fresh, yo. Anyways, you can tell from this license plate that this Corvette is originally from California. There's pros and cons to that. Pros, almost no salt out there, except you live on the beach or something. So this should have minimal rust underneath, which is a pro. Con, it's always sunny there. And I believe this Corvette has never spent a day in a garage based on the paint condition. Almost every single panel in this Corvette has some kind of clear coat failure, which kind of stinks, but that's kind of why I got it, because it was a good price. Some panels are good, but right now they're covered in bird poop, so not good, I guess. Because these things are fiberglass, they don't dent. There's no dents anywhere. There's no tears in the fiberglass as far as I can tell. I think what we're going to do on this channel is show how we're going to repair this, maybe to 90–95% of the quality of what it was originally. I'm going to try and do it at home and for cheap, so be sure to subscribe for that. Man, it is bad. The trunk's bad. The roof is especially bad, and it's one of the only panels on this entire car that doesn't come off, so that will be probably the hardest to paint. Again, this car's not very big, so it won't take a lot of paint and as much prep as, say, like a big land yacht. But yeah, trunk's bad, roof's bad, hood's starting to go bad, both front fenders are starting to go bad. The doors are fine, the door handles are not. Both rear fenders are fine, the driver one's starting to go bad. The back bumper is fine except for the top. The top's where the sun hits it all the time. And the front bumper has seen better days. But other than that, it's pretty good, I guess. So what you've seen is pretty much the worst of it. The rest of this car is actually very good, considering the miles. Engine is bone stock. Previous owner, a buddy of mine I work with at Holly, he changed out the spark plugs and spark plug wires. But other than that, it's like all OEM bone stock fresh. Has a little bit of a squeal. One of the pulley needs to be replaced, but 170,000 miles, can't really complain. AC, to our knowledge, doesn't work. I'm gonna put the belt back on and recharge it when it gets warmer out, but right now it's below freezing and I can't feel my hands. The wheels and tires on this are in pretty good shape. I don't know if I'm a fan or not of these wheels. They came on the fixed roof coupes. Let me know in the comments if you like these wheels or not. I'm honestly still undecided, but either way, they've got good tires on the 500 treadwear tires, which based on what I plan on doing, doesn't really matter, but more to that in a second. Let's check out the interior because it is oh so fresh. Oh man, what a glorious place to be, depending if you're blind or not. But these C5s, the interiors on them is probably the main reason why I dismissed these cars for so many years. They're terrible. They look bad in photos, they're just not good. But when you actually sit in one in real life, it's still bad. The only good thing this has going for it is that it's all bone stock. The fit and finish, although bad on all these C5 Corvettes, is actually a lot better than my other Corvette. My other one looked like someone had chewed up everything by a dog. The key was gross, like everything was just cracked and destroyed, yet somehow this interior is actually in really good shape. The stock shifter is absolutely atrocious. It spins around, it looks like a piece of crap. It's bad. The steering wheel's in decent shape. It allows you to see all the gauges, which the gauge cluster in this is pretty good considering it shows you all the information you need to know, but it's like a school bus. It's huge. Pros of these terrible seats right now is that Someone for 170,000 miles has sat in this, which means the seat cushion is basically done, and I sit really low in the car. These seats are for sure going away. If you want them, leave me a comment, send me a message on Instagram, but I'm going to sell them. If not, they're going in the trash. Door panels are all good. Previous owner actually swapped out the door panels. I have the other ones over there. Stock stereo. Since this was a 99, they didn't even have CD players, so it's a cassette player. Big thing difference too is my old Corvette had the automatic climate control. This one has manual, and I thought I would think this is complete garbage as far as looking at it, and in real life it's not that bad, and the switches actually feel pretty good. The fixed roof coupe is coveted as one of the lightest C5s that existed prior to the Z06. This example basically has no fancy HVAC, so less weight there. Doesn't have a heads-up display. It's basically a stripped down Corvette that looks cool and drives really great. This is actually in pretty good shape. Some of the interior is out of this because there was a leak. If you're familiar with Corvettes, they've got these gutters along the cowl near the engine, they're called udders, but basically it allows water to divert away from the windshield down on the ground, but one of them gets clogged up with leaves for the past 20-25 years, and they get clogged up and backs up into the car. I think I have that fixed, but it has not rained in over 2 weeks to be able to tell. So all the rest of the interior is in the back. Overall, I think these cars fit me perfectly. I'm 6 foot, have a moderate torso. I think this is the perfect size car interior-wise for me. Sure, it's bigger than a Miata or an S2000, but if you've ever driven one of those on the highway or just driven around the track, they're small. This car in that realm is big, but in every other car that's ever made now, this thing is small. And I really, really like the size of this. I'm happy to have this car, but God, this interior is so bad. So this is my C5 Corvette in the flesh. You've seen everything about it, everything I know about it. Only thing I didn't cover is it leaks a little bit underneath because it has 170,000 miles and is almost 25 years old, but to be expected. Plans for this car. First and foremost, if you like Corvette content, definitely subscribe. If you like garage content, subscribe as well, because this may be one of the last videos I do in this garage on a vehicle, because right behind me is where the new garage is going. I'm going to have a whole build series on how that garage is getting built. A component of that garage, spoiler alert, is going to be a lift, because having one of these cars and a lift makes it so much easier to work on. That's the plan. This is going to be a project car. But as far as actual plans for this car, I actually want to take this thing drifting. So you may be thinking, why did you get rid of the other car? Why'd you get rid of the other car to Cleetus, even though that was all busted up and stuff? It's just the timing of it. I knew I wanted a Chevy SS, and I'm glad I pulled the trigger because the prices have gone up like crazy. On the other side, I sold that car for what modern times would be a stupid good deal. And when I sold it to Mr. McFarland at the time, was a fair deal, but this car was only a couple $1,000s less than that car, and that car was fully built. I like that this thing is stock because it's a full platform to build upon, but also, if it blows up, it's no big deal. That other Corvette, I had thousands and thousands of dollars in the engine for both parts and labor and everything like that. And if I messed that engine up, I would have been pissed. I would have been so upset. This car, if the engine pops, I'm putting an aluminum junkyard engine in it with a cam and calling it quits. Just gonna roll like that. That was one of my biggest mistakes with the other car. I wish I would have known that at the time, because I didn't have the goals with the car. I just built it and I wanted something fast, but I had no actual plans for it or goals. That was a shame. These cars now have a ton of aftermarket support for drifting, and I've never drifted before, ever. I sold the Corvette, bought a 350Z to go drifting, and then COVID happened and shut everything down. So I actually sold that car before I actually take it to a drift event. If I suck at drifting, or if I don't like it, it's gonna become an autocross / track car / drag racing fun track car, basically. Thankfully, most of these mods I'm gonna do to make it drift ready is fully reversible, which is pretty cool. There's a ton of parts to these Corvettes. You can do whatever you want with them. That's the beauty of these cars. They're so versatile. Whatever you want to do with them. You want a street cruiser, you want a highway cruiser, you want a car show New Balance cruiser, you have it all. Next video is going to be driving reviews of this car with 170,000 miles. It's very, very different from my other Corvettes, so that's a spoiler, but it's a good time anyways. Looking forward to bringing you guys along for that. If you guys have any questions about my old Corvette build, or this Corvette in particular, or Corvette in general, I'm happy to answer them. I like getting comments, so drop them below and I'll be sure to answer them if I can. For those that are OG subscribers, you notice I've got my hair back. I'm cancer-free right now, so all is good. Just getting checkups, and with that, make sure you go to the doctors once a year, because it could save your life, and it saved mine, and now I get to do more dumb car stuff because of it. That's all I got. Make sure to keep it Club Dirty fresh, because this is Club Dirty fresh as F. Keep it real. Peace out.